Phoenix. This episode, we have an amazing episode coming to you. This is Parlor Talk, the conversation behind the hair. We're going to go ahead and open up with our sponsors. We are sponsored by Surgical Healing. You can catch them at 6150 Diamond Center Court, Fort Myers, Florida. Their telephone number is 239-344-9768 for all your weight loss needs. They do gastric bypass, gastric sleeve, weight loss injections, and body contouring. That's where I got my stomach fixed.
Hey.
Wow, nice.
I need a suction.
So, yeah, I might need another one.
I need another
I
one.
need a
That's
necklace.
I don't have one. I need another one. I need one in my life.
Hey guys, this is Dee Dominguez. Welcome to Parlor Talk, the conversation behind the hair. I can't flip, but I can.
You can ruffle.
Today we have an amazing podcast because we have our mamacitas today in honor of Mother's Day. We decided to invite all of our mothers to be part of this podcast today, and we are going to have some conversations here in Parlor Talk.
Hopefully it's going to be super exciting. What's poppin', y'all? It is Shhmoney Curl. You already know what it is. And I'm super excited for this and a little scared of what might be said on this episode of Parlor Talk.
Well, this is my mother.
Mina.
That's my mom, Mina. Her actual name is Herminia, but everybody in the family calls her Mina.
Mina. Okay, that.
Pretty.
Mm-hmm.
This is my mom, Betsy. Betsy Santiago. Miss Camacho / all that good stuff.
Yep, something like that.
Good stuff.
All that good stuff, something like that.
And then the odd one out is my mom, Michelle.
Why the odd one?
Why the odd one?
Because we're mixed.
The skin. Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
We got the flavors on the two sides and the mixture in the middle.
We got the
That's
sauce.
it.
We got the sauce.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I would like to start by saying Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Yes.
You too.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
How did you guys spend your Mother's Day?
Why don't we start with Ashley first?
How? That's a dangerous question for Nakisha. So
No. I was just gonna.
we
say
can't get her in trouble.
No. I
Okay.
want to say how I spend my.
There you
Mother's
go.
Day, right. So it happens that Mother's Day yesterday was also my first granddaughter's birthday, but I couldn't see her because she was sick. But we spent the weekend in Orlando celebrating my sister-in-law's 55th birthday, and we drove back yesterday, and I was happy because my baby's moving back home. So we brought him back home yesterday because he's taking a summer break from college, and he was living in Orlando, so he's back home, so that's good. Then, like around 7 o'clock, my daughter's like, Mom, can we just plan to go like spontaneous to dinner? Can I take you out to dinner for Mother's Day? And I'm like, I don't know, because I have brought food. I went to like a really nice restaurant in Orlando called Milao. I brought a whole bunch of food, Puerto Rican food, like really good. And it has like a bakery, so I have my sweets and everything. And she's like, I wanted to take you to P.F. Chang's. And I'm like, well, Mother's Day doesn't have to be one day, because let's be real.
No. We can celebrate the whole month.
We can
Still taking gifts.
Every
I
day.
was like, I take a rain check. You could take me any other day. This heifer came over and said, well, can you stay with the baby so I can go?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did the same thing. My boyfriend took me to a baseball game. It was choking. I don't look ugly. So I left my mom with Gordo, and she would Gordo called me like twice to tell me Happy Mother's Day. And then she called me. She's like, well, let me know when you're done and come pick up your package. So I came home like around 7. I passed out after I ate. And I came and just laid down with her and relaxed. And she's like, well, where's my dinner? And my boyfriend was supposed to cook for everybody, but we fell asleep after eating Olive Garden.
Yeah.
We didn't wake up till like 7 o'clock.
I didn't get no dinner.
And she's like, well, damn, then I'm going to have me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I feel bad. I owe my mom dinner.
Well, I haven't got my mom. So I didn't give my mom a gift yesterday because, like I said, I was out of town and she couldn't go with us, so she was here. Otherwise, I would have taken her out to eat and all that. But I feel as though, like, I don't just pick one day out of the year to celebrate her. Right, Mom? Like, we go out all the time and we exchange gifts. We don't have to wait for a specific occasion, right? Right?
It's okay. It's okay. We randomly do it. That's it. It's about to spice it up. It really is. It sucks that all these holidays are put on one specific day, like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Well, we should be celebrating every day, no matter what, because life is life, and tomorrow's never promised.
Exactly.
That's right.
So we're always so quick to say tomorrow, but what if we don't make it to tomorrow?
Exactly.
So-
All right,
Well,
so
you
that's
could take me
why
out to dinner today.
We can go. Today we ain't got nothing.
See?
Goto's at home already.
you see.
Where you want to go? Ooh, let's go to
No, we pick up
Iguana
Porto.
See, no, that's too many mouths to feed. He's not a mother.
I just took my mom to Iguana before we
Did
came
you?
here.
See, that's my favorite
Yeah.
spot, and I'm not gonna lie, I love Mexican. So when I say I like Mexican,
Mhm.
people think I like the food trucks, authentic tacos.
Mhm.
I don't like that. I like cheese and lettuce on my
Give me
steak.
a fake
I'll be honest
Yeah,
with you.
give me the fake Mexican with the
For
refried
being
beans.
an Americanized like franchise, it's pretty good. It's,
It is
it's
really good.
seasoned well.
And their drinks are what's today?
Oh,
Monday?
they have $2.
That's what I'm saying. They got $2
margarita.
margaritas all day. That's it. My mom's eyes gonna be leaning like this by the time we leave.
Yeah, I spent mine in Orlando too.
Oh,
Oh, look
Well, Saturday for his birthday.
happy
And
belated
at
birthday!
that. Yes, happy belated birthday, Taurus.
And then we drove down, and then I was like, you know, it's Mother's Day, like, drop you off, and then I'm gonna go over there, have dinner, and then I came with the cup that I made for her, and I was like, okay, look, here's your good cup, and then here's the cup I messed up on, so you get 2 cups.
2 for 1. 2 for 1.
A twofer.
I was like, you'll get the mess up, and then you can have the good one.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's get to the nitty gritty.
Ooh, what's the nitty gritty?
Well, we've all shared, you know, how we were. Our audience got our perspective of our childhood.
Oh Lord, we're gonna
So-
get into that.
Uh-oh.
I would like to know the mother's perspective from their point of view.
I know she
Hold
asked me,
up.
she's like, what are we talking about? I'm like, just be raw. She's like raw? I say whatever I want. I said whatever. Like they already heard it from me a couple
So
times.
I want to hear from the mother's perspective. How was it raising us? So, Betsy.
I have to start? Oh, God.
How was I, Mom?
She was,
Horrible.
she was a tough child, I must say. It was what she wanted when she wanted. I'll give you a good story. Keisha always wanted cell phones, just like her son.
She wanted to what?
She always wanted cell phones,
Okay.
I love
just like her son. So she cried because she wanted the purple cell phone that used to flip up. Y'all remember those
It
phones?
was
That
the
you could
T-Mobile
type.
Sidekick.
Sidekick, yeah.
Best
So
video games ever.
I finally got it for her. She was really excited. Then one day she pissed me off. She did something that really pissed me off. I remember taking the phone outside in front of her
She
and
was
just
traumatized.
banging it with the hammer.
And she didn't stop hitting it until it was in pieces.
She
Pieces.
deserved it though.
What did
Keisha
she-
was,
Well, you don't remember what she did?
I don't remember. It's probably something with school. It was always something with school. Keisha was just very rebellious growing up. I mean, she had her reasons too. Obviously, she went through a lot. But she was tough. She says, I never hit Felix.
No, she didn't. That boy was sucking on his mom's titty for a long time.
No, not true. Not true. He did get hit once, but she did get hit once. But she got hit all the time, but because she didn't listen. She just didn't listen.
Did
Never
Felix
listen.
listen?
Huh?
Did Felix listen?
Yeah, he
No,
listened.
he cried wolf. Let's talk about the time that she hit me with the broomstick because he pushed me, and when I came out yelling and got too loud, she was sweeping outside and just hit me with a baseball bat
It was a broom.
behind my back. It felt like one.
Oh my God, they're gonna think I'm child abuse here.
Well, you know what though? I would say this because you're the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm the third. So I learned from watching my siblings get hit, so that I never got hit. So,
No,
mommy,
you
how?
just became more sneakier.
That's how I
I
felt
didn't
my
get
brother
caught.
did. Like he knew how to work the system afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
And
good.
he was
Yeah.
He was sneaky.
he was very sneaky and very like
Keisha was very
Slithery.
open. Keisha was very open. If she had to say something, she would tell you. She was just very open. She went through a lot in school, though. I mean, a lot of fights. A lot of it not of her own. It became to a point where it was like they were picking on her because, you know, I named her Nakisha. When I tried to pick out her name, I wanted a unique name. When I had her, I was in Puerto Rico, so to me, I wanted Keisha. That was the name. Her uncle's girlfriend, or woman at the time, was named Keisha, and she was very special to the family. So I wanted to name her after her. but I wanted to add something else to it. So when I discovered Nakisha, I thought, oh my God, I have the best unique name. Not knowing that coming to Florida, I would see Nakisha, Lakisha, Taisha, and the whole name. So she got bullied a lot in school, and she had to fight a lot in school. And yeah, she ran every school in the Cape, every school.
Except Ida Baker, they wouldn't take me.
Yeah, they wouldn't take you.
My book was too high by then. And by then, I tried to get my life together. Like, I wanted to go to Ida Baker's. They were the only ones known for having mechanic shops, cosmetology, nursing programs. And they just threw me the L and put me to Mariner. And after that was a wrap. I flattened all 4 of my tires thinking I was going to get away with it. And my dad came to the school. And
Oh, her dad was a caguete. How do you say that? Caguete.
Alcahuete is like enabler.
Yeah, he protected his little girl, boy. She could do no wrong.
And
No
he
wrong.
laughed at me. He came that day and he was like, all right, I can see 1 or 2, but 4, Keisha, insurance won't even take care of that. And he put me in, and he actually took me to go get my GED that day. He was like, if you're going to constantly get kicked out of school, and I just fought. And I tried to avoid it. I even text her, I think. I was like, this girl's picking on me in the bathroom. And I don't want to hit her, Mom.
You were North.
No, I was
by
at
then.
Mariner at high
Oh, at Mariner,
my
the
last
bathroom.
school. I just came out of ALC from doing like 160 days.
Yeah.
Almost a year and a half. So I really went to Mariner to play softball and really get my life back on track. And she just didn't like me. She didn't like the other people liked me. And my style was very different. People off rip thought I was from New York 24/7 by the way I looked and talked and moved around. And she bumped into me in the bathroom. And all she said was, these short people these days, I'll never forget Becky. Becky. She sold me my first Toyota car.
But
too.
you got in trouble at home that day. 'Cause remember, you
Yeah,
didn't go to
she-
school.
Yeah, I didn't want to go to school
And you
because
let it out
she
on
was
her.
talking. And I heard that she was talking. And I told Mom, like, please don't let, if you don't go to school, you're not going to get this, and that. And that car's going to be taken. And I just got my car back. So I went to school, and she damn sure bumped into me in the bathroom and said, short people these days. And I had glasses on. I had my sweats on. I was comfortable. It was cold as hell. And I texted her. I was like, Ma, this girl's messing with me, and I'm gonna have to show an example, and I'm tired of it. And she was like, Keisha, try to deal with it. So when I came out the stall, she kept talking, and very calmly I took off my glasses. I put them down, and I whooped that ass. She won't have to see me. And I just kept, and she was big. Like, all these girls, imagine, I'm 4'11" and a half. I was like 4'9", 4'7". And this girl was a good 5'10", 200 pound stocky. So I knew if I didn't hit her, it probably would have been a wrap on me. So I just kept hitting her. But
not to cut you off though, when she went to ALC, Dr. Darnell, I don't know if you guys know him.
he's
I think
part he's part of the whole
Yeah.
school district
I
now.
had a Keisha of my own.
he was good. He
Darnell
actually
tried.
changed her. I mean, he did really good with you, and I appreciate him a lot for that.
Well, he talked to me a lot. He cared about the
Yeah.
students because he all knew that everybody that was
In order
going
to be in
ALC,
that school, you need to care.
you needed to.
Yeah.
And a lot of teachers didn't because they looked at us like the last hope. Like, oh, they're already in it, especially if you're like a third offender. I went from 6th grade, 9th grade, and then again 10th grade. They kind of just washed their hands with you. But he actually took the time to talk to me, figure out what was my anger issues and how to speak. So I did. I counted to 10 a couple times in my head and I breathed it out. But man, did they get these hands. Every day did they get these hands.
So, Mommy, how was I as a child and a teenager? Yes, me. Go ahead. You gotta say how I was.
Very nice, quiet.
Nice.
Opposite.
Very nice.
She don't like do nothing in the house, but it's okay.
I didn't like doing anything in the house.
Not much.
I love her
So
showing
I love her, yeah.
They speak volumes.
Yeah, they do.
So wait a minute. So who cooked and cleaned?
When you wrong,
No. From
When you was wrong, you gonna
when I was
cook.
grown, I cooked and cleaned.
that's it.
That's it. I wanna. Can we phone a friend?
When you get
Her
7,
lifeline.
10, you don't do nothing. I don't remember.
I need to call my sister.
She threw you under the bus. She do nothing.
She take care of sister, but in this time you don't cook, you don't clean.
When we lived in Atlantic City, and you had 2 jobs.
Okay, how old you?
I was 12, 13. Yes.
13,
'Cause
13, 14, yeah.
And before that, I wasn't cooking and
Because I
cleaning.
got 2 jobs.
Yes, you had 2 jobs.
I'm sleeping 4 hours
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So she's the woman in the house.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
But before that, I was still cooking and cleaning too.
Dee's like, can you just
The hand said no.
She's like, please.
I'm legit about to call my sister and put her on the spot.
She's
Oh,
like,
she's like, don't remember. That's her favorite thing. I don't remember. Oh my God. All right, we're going to go back to that one. I am this close to call my sister and ask her the same exact question because it's a complete different answer. But all right, we're going to leave it like that. So, how was our lovely Enya Phoenix as a kid and a
because she's
teenager?
so quiet and
I
loving.
know. She is quiet, but she's very sneaky.
Oh.
That's that
And
cancer.
she has that temper that will pop just like that. We call her the rooster.
Stop
Okay.
it, really?
No
Yeah.
way. We
She'll
did not know that about
That's
prance
it.
you.
She's not Onion
She'll
Phoenix no more.
prance
She's
around
a rooster.
like
I know.
when she's mad and walk around like the chickens do in the yard, and like the roosters do.
Well, it's because I had the bun, And it was just I mean,
Oh my God.
She's very sneaky. Thought she was getting away with a lot of stuff.
but I did get away with a lot.
She did get away with a lot of stuff. And like she said on the show one time that when she was 18 in the car, she's like, I did this and I did this. And at that point in time, I was just like, just shush. I don't want to hear it no more. Whatever you did, I don't
Take it to the
want to
grave.
hear it.
So what's one thing? Do you tell your mom everything? Is there
At
anything
this
that?
point, yes. I'm too open sometimes. Sometimes she
No,
looks at
but
me
is
like, I
there
don't wanna
anything
hear
that
it.
you did as a teenager that you never told your mom?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, a lot of stuff.
Oh, God, please don't let her bring it to light.
Exactly.
I'm okay with not hearing it.
Exactly.
A lot of things. I think we all, as children, we push the buttons a little bit, and there's been some times that we can't even tell friends some things that we've been through. You have friends that you talk about when you're partying with them. You have other friends that you go to school and you play sports with.
Right.
Then you have your mom that, and your dad's two opposites that you do anything with. So I feel like, yeah, it's like a split personality. You always have some little things hidden. She takes shit to the grave still. There's
I
things
think
I'll ask
I
about it.
think I know there's a lot that I did that my mom has no clue.
The question is she going to share any?
That part. Are we sharing?
Let me ask her. I'm gonna ask her in Spanish and then translate. Hay cosas que yo he hecho que tú crees que tú no sabes. Are there things that I've done that you think you don't know about?
Claro. Yes.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna ask her this one question.
When you started with your boyfriend,
My still husband. Yes.
Let me
she
clarify.
go to the school, coming home, he want to stay dancing all the time.
I love that.
The
See,
group,
I've always loved dancing.
group, boys and girls.
We did house
It's
parties.
okay, because I'm sleeping upstairs. It's okay. I buy something for eating something, but it's okay.
How did you feel when I told you I was pregnant?
Because you were pregnant at 15, correct?
I was 14.
14. How did you feel with that?
I know everything.
You knew?
Yes, I tell you. Why you cry too much? Why you stay in the bed? You don't go to the school? Why you cry? You praying? Why you do it? Then you say, I am praying. But he don't believe me. Oh, why he don't believe you? This is your first boy. So the first
First man you
boyfriend.
slept with, yeah.
The boyfriend, I think so, because I never saw her boyfriend to her. No, he don't believe me. You know why? Okay. I call her father,
His father.
her father.
Yes.
I say, I'm not sure that the praying is for my son. You okay? ¿Cómo se dice el refrán dominicano? Que el hijo de puta saca su madre de su padre de
I know that's a bad word.
El
But
hijo
there's
de
not-
puta saca su padre de duda.
I don't know how to translate that.
How would you translate that, Mom?
El hijo de puta
Saca
saca.
su padre de duda.
I don't know.
That's my
Son of
grandma.
a bitch will take the mother out of the thought.
Yeah, out of
Basically,
doubt.
out of doubt.
So basically, when I told my baby daddy at the time that I was pregnant, we had been broken up for 2 months. I didn't know I was pregnant. I was already 2 months pregnant, but I didn't know. So when I told him I was pregnant, he was like, by who? Because, he's 15. Last time we had sex was like more than 2 months ago. And you're just now telling me that you're pregnant? So
Yeah,
he was
because her father said, "You sure? It's your, you
his
sure?
father,
It's
his
your-"
father. So his father, when she called his father to tell him that I was pregnant, he was like, "Oh, I don't know if that's even his." So she was like, basically what she was trying to say with that saying is, fine, you take care of your child, I'll take care of my child, basically.
I feel like parents really do know when you lose your virginity because she said that to me. I remember the day. Why don't you tell the story the day you found out that I wasn't a virgin? Because we were sitting in the car with Crystal that day.
I mean, you kind of know the way my mom knew I was pregnant, and I knew she was pregnant. The girl body changes. You
The
know,
moment you have sex.
your breasts change, your hips change. Yeah, your hips. You do a whole transformation without knowing that you did the transformation. And moms just know. That's how I knew.
She knew off rip that I wasn't a virgin, not even before I was pregnant. Like, I remember sitting in the car with my cousin Crystal, and I was looking at Crystal like, you freaking snitch.
Yeah.
Because she was one of those, she couldn't hold water. And Crystal was in the backseat, I'm in the front. we're
But she
going
never
over
told me.
40, she did that day
Well,
in the
she
bridge.
had no other choice.
Oh, my sister always
Yeah, snitch, dry snitch, and not even noticing. We were driving over, and I remember my mom kept staring at me in the car while she's driving. She's like, you lost something? You doing something? I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I look at Crystal like, shut the fuck up, don't say shit. And she's like, all right, I'll find
Crystal
out.
couldn't lie to me though.
For nothing. That's why I
She
would tell
never
Crystal,
could lie to
eye
me.
contact. Eye contact is real. Don't eye contact nobody if you're not gonna lie. And I remember her telling me, I'm gonna take you to the doctor. They'll tell me. And at that point, my voice cracked, and I was like, oh shit, they probably can't tell. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in trouble. And I remember getting so nervous because I didn't know, when I get nervous, I laugh a lot. Or if I'm about to be in trouble or anything, I just get very goofy. If you cry in front of me, I'm either gonna cry with you or I'm gonna laugh at you, and there's never no in between. And at that point, she was thugging, she was pushing on me and pushing, and Chris was like, "Just tell her, Keisha." And she's hitting me from the corner. Finally, I looked over. I said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm not a virgin no more." And I looked outside, and man, I remember that car getting broke like this, going over the bridge, and the bumblebees attacked me. She hit me about 15 times in 20 seconds.
Yeah, but the reason was her
But the reason.
There's a reason. It was the way she responded to me.
She knew I get nervous.
It was the way she responded.
Yeah.
It's how you say it. So I had to.
You could say whatever you want is how you say it. I'm with mom on that.
I felt that today with the girls in my chair because they were talking crazy to their parents. It was just a tone. And when she was talking, that's how I know I've changed. Like, I'm young to everybody, towards you guys, but to the 18, 17, I'm older now to them. So when she was getting a little loud, I'm listening to she had on speaker, and I kind of wanted just to
You got
mute
mom
her
mode.
phone. Yeah, I got mom mode. I said, it's your tone. You need to learn how to talk to people because the way you're saying it and the attitude behind your voice, it makes a person not want to deal with you. And if I was your mom, I wouldn't even pay for your hair right now. You want to be out your mom's house so bad at 18, you can't even pay for your hair. And her reaction
And you're being disrespectful
changed.
to her.
Yeah, and that's when I knew. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old. That's it. I'm that mom now. I'm definitely that mom.
I don't think it's that you're getting old. I think that
You're getting
morals,
wiser.
values, respect don't go out of style.
They
Yeah,
really,
right.
oh,
You know
well,
what I'm
now this generation's very
Yes,
different.
And I had a conversation today with somebody that that I care about a lot, and she put things into perspective for me. Your mom and I, because we're closer in age, we went without a lot, right? Materialistic, affection, attention, because my mom had 4 children. At one point, she was a single mom, had to work 2 jobs, so she didn't have the time to spend with me, right? So when I became a mom, I wanted to be the mom that I didn't have, right? But then I overindulged my kids. Like, I gave them, each kid had their own room, walk-in closet, vacation, this, that, and I created that problem.
A monster at that
You
point.
created
I didn't notice
monsters.
it.
Yes, because to a certain level, my kids are good. They're good human beings, but up to a certain level, they're selfish and they're entitled. Because it's like they kind of expect me to do certain things for them, or
It's a
expect
norm.
me to be there.
for
You know what I'm
them.
saying? But at the end of the day is you shouldn't focus your own happiness based on somebody else.
No.
You're responsible for your own happiness. You're responsible for whatever it is you want to do in life to do for yourself. Like, I can't sit here and say, you know, we grew up in the projects. My mom was on welfare, Section 8. You know, I've lost so many loved ones. I had cancer. I was molested as a child. Like, there's so many things that happened to me, but I'm not the only one. Shit happens to people every single day.
That's right.
It's what you do moving forward with
Exactly.
it. You know what I'm
That
saying?
becomes your real story.
Exactly. So it's like when somebody tells me, oh, but you don't know what kind of traumas they had. Yeah, because I do, because I have traumas. I just deal with them
I
differently.
think at the end of the day, we all have traumas.
Everybody does.
That we face and that haunts everybody on a day-to-day basis. But then you have the ones that's not strong enough.
I wouldn't say strong enough. I would say that they don't have the right
They don't know how to deal with
tools,
it.
coping mechanisms. They weren't taught.
How to be guided correctly.
Exactly.
How to fight through it. I think more of her with being a probation officer, raising around the kids. We got a little bit more because the stories that she actually went
She's like,
through
I don't want you to
and
end up in
heard.
jail.
for
I don't
sure.
want you to end up a drug addict.
Yeah.
Like all the people that she had to be taken care of.
Because you
she
have
had-
it in your own family, your own household, but then when you're hearing these stories of these kids at 8, 9 years old getting molested, and you're hearing about the stealing, the robbing, she came home and it was like,
I think the problem with today's society in itself is that parents need to be parents and not friends. You're a parent first. They got friends in the street. But you at home, you got to be a parent. And I think, I'm with you, I was a little bit more strict than Junior, because by the time she grew up, I knew the mistakes I made with her, so I had to kind of level a little bit with Felix.
She don't want to hear that.
So she don't think it's right, but I was
happens all the
I was
time.
19 when I had her. I was still baby. I was still learning how to race. My mom wasn't here. I raised them on my own with the help of Sue, obviously. But you know, I had 2 jobs. I became a single parent early on. I practically raised them on my own. But
she did good.
at the end of the day, I mean, you know, I can say all these stories that Keisha did this, but at the end of the day, she still trumped. She everything. She became who she is now, and I'm very proud of her.
You
It's
beat
because
the
of-
odds.
It's because of her. I tell that to a lot of people. Like, yeah, she whooped my ass. She did a lot of stuff. I didn't spend a night at friends' houses.
No.
There was none of
No.
that. Friends coming to my house? Hell no. My own cousin had to wear pajama pants or sweatpants around my father. Like, that's how old school it was. Sitting on uncle's
Again,
laps?
That's
Hell
not
no.
old school. That's just if
Respect.
people were to continue those things, it would be a lot less molestation, a lot
Uh-huh.
less.
Big
Like
time.
I'm not. I try not to overstep my boundaries with my grandchildren, but I do voice my opinion. I don't believe in all that sleeping over stuff.
Hell no. Well, look what just happened with the girl what was it, in Texas, that a man was facing sexual predator charges, was about to go to court on Monday. His daughter was friends with another 14-year-old. They just moved into the state. They didn't know anybody. The parents let him go over. He killed his daughter and her 3 friends and his wife. And had court that Monday to go to prison for violation because he was a predator. And the parents were like, well, there was nothing wrong with them. They were friends. They went on the bus together. They went this. But it could have been avoided because, one, these parents are not getting to know the people that their kids are hanging out with, nor do we have enough time to. Because honestly, I just found out my son's teacher's name not too long ago to really understand and remember. So it is hard to keep track. That is the main reason why I wouldn't allow my son. My son don't go to people's house, nor did he feel comfortable to do so. He'd rather be in his big size bed by himself or grandma's house. But to even stay at my boyfriend's house, hell no, he don't like it. And I think
not
we
used
should.
to it.
It's not, and we have to listen to our kids sometimes when they feel a certain way. But at the same time, to know not to allow them to be just around anywhere because we don't know anybody else's intentions.
Yes.
And
I mean,
it's
and
scary.
I will say, like, growing up, like, I was allowed to stay at a friend's house. However, it was, I need to talk to the mom. You know, I need to get to know the mom. I need the number of the mom. And then I only had a select few that we really stayed over. Or it was, I had a friend, partners in crime.
But that's
where
the
I
thing.
got all my bad stuff was with that one.
She was
And
bad
she
influence,
was
Mom?
And that was
Yeah,
the
she
one that your
was.
mom let you go over a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Or she was constantly
thing
over
of-
at ours.
This is what happened whenever I went to her house. at 18.
See, I tried that. My mom, at one point, I think I was like 16. I was the only one with a car. And I remember her name, Gabby. She lived on the other side of Cape Coral, like Andalusia and stuff. So that was like the boondocks to Norfolk.
Yep.
And she talked to the mom. The mom was Cuban. They were from, I think, Vegas or whatever. So they had a little conversation, had each other's numbers. But that was the cool mom. The mom that would lie to my mom and be like, yeah, they're in the house, they're this, they're that. But we were out in the streets at house parties, and I'm in the car with 6 or 7 people beaner packing my car because I'm the only one with the car. And I will never forget, I used to get these stomach pains that, I don't know, it was just, I was in the party, I felt like I had to take a shit. I'm like, oh my God, like my stomach hurts. My mom knows something. My mom knows. And it never failed. When I got that feeling, that was the main day that I had that feeling. I raced home. It was probably 2 or 3 in the morning. And guess who was sitting outside of Gabby's house in the car with my father? And she dragged me and took my car away for months. And she knew. She's like, did you follow me that night or something?
No, I mean, they just don't listen.
They don't listen. No, we just know.
I could remember this day. Felix probably going to kill me for saying the story. But anyway, I know you remember. I gave him my car. When he went into high school, I gave him my car. I was tired of me driving, waiting for baseball, so I said, just take the car. Car's yours. You saw it through high school. But I always told my kids, you don't take nobody in the car. God forbid you're in an accident.
Yep.
We're liable as parents. So something told me this day, you know what, he's not listening to me. So I went to Island Coast. You remember that?
Oh, my
I went to
gosh.
Island Coast, and I hid, and I followed him. And he not only took one of his friends, he went to a girl's house and was getting ready to pick up. So I remember.
She said was getting
This
ready
was worse than my ass whooping, by the way.
Yeah, so I remember I waited till he got out the apartment, the gated community, and he was with his friend in the car, and I parked the car in front of him. And he looked at me, he was shaking. And I said, get out the car, get out the car. And I got in the car, it was Edison.
Yeah.
Sorry, Edison, I gotta say your name, but I remember getting in the car, and I was so angry driving, I wanted to scare them.
Her foot was.
And my foot was like shaking, like literally shaking because I was driving so fast. Poor Edison was so scared. Then halfway there, I made him get out the car and walk.
And walk home on Gator Circle.
I was like, you know
We
what?
all know
Get
how
out the car.
far anything is in Gator Circle.
And my son was so horrified because obviously he had to go to school the next day. He was the popular kid in school.
Of course.
But he learned his lesson, I would hope, because I never caught him again. Maybe I know different.
Because he did a lot more than me. My brother definitely was the one that smiled in your face. He's the goody two shoes. Played baseball when he was always on the varsity teams and everything. But man, did he get away with murder until I had Gordo. And then one night I felt like going out, and it was probably a year after that happened. And there was these big parties in Alva that everybody had. We would get drunk. The parents would buy liquor for everybody. There was 5 or 6 acres full of parties, like Zoom, like boom, boom, boom. And I used to go to them. So the brother that graduated with me, now his little brother's having the parties. Okay. So I just had Gordo. Gordo was probably a year old. I'm like, Mom, watch the baby because I want to go out. I haven't been out in forever. Let me live my best life. I was 20 years old at that point. So I'm like, oh, I know the people. So I was chilling with my people that graduated. Then there's Junior's friends. And I will never forget that I watched this girl getting drugged down the middle of it was like wooden area, and she was so messed up, they were gonna rape her. There was about 6 or 7 boys, and my mind changed. And the instant that I saw that, I'm looking for my brother. I look at this guy, we called him Poop. I don't want to go into the story why we call him Poop, but we called him Poop. And I looked at him and said, where's my brother? I look over, my brother's doing something he ain't supposed to be doing on the other corner of the truck with a girl. So at that point, my truck is blocked in. I paid these Mexicans $15, $20 extra to not get my car like stuck because I knew I had to leave my son. My mom was like, you better be home by 3, 4 in the morning, da-da-da. And everybody's blocked in. There's tons of kids drinking, partying, just like we did, ecstasy, a whole bunch of stuff. But that girl stuck in my head. And I'm like, God forbid if this girl gets raped or killed or she overdoses, that is on me because that's what I just saw. And I'm a mom now. So everything changed. Girl, tell me why I called the damn cops. I called the cops. And I was like, there's a big old party on this address, da-da-da-da, underage drinking. And I just saw the girl get pulled in the thing. And damn Skippy, 3 minutes or 4 minutes later, the cops are all coming.
Well, you probably saved that girl's life.
And girl, my poor brother had to go his senior year to school and get called that his sister was a snitch. Mind you, Kiki was known for banging and fighting, and I didn't even believe in cops. Now I'm over here calling the cops. But that's when I
growth.
knew I was a mom. Like you look at everything different. These poor
Different,
kids
yeah.
weren't
You have
gonna
to
say
protect.
nothing. They were just watching their friend get dragged in there.
Yeah, no.
And that's when I looked at my brother, and my brother didn't talk to me for months after that.
But then he
Months.
realized you did the right thing.
Yeah,
no
I
matter
sure
what.
did. I slept good that night, and I went home and held my baby because that made me think of life differently. But no, my brother did a lot of shit. What was he doing? God.
So, all right, so let me see. What other question I want to ask? Because I've been waiting for this episode for a long time.
We should have them in our notes.
Yeah, I know. Mom, how did you feel when you first got pregnant, and how old were you? ¿Cómo tú te sentiste cuando tú embarazaste la primera vez y cuántos años tú tenías?
16.
The camera.
It's video.
How did you feel?
You were 16 when you were pregnant? Oh wow. But back in the day was different, right?
She was married already.
My scare, don't go to school. That's the period I said, I will go to school now.
But you were married already, right?
Yeah, I finished my last year with my belly
Of high school?
in high school. But I'm going to move into my husband's house with parents, sister. So I'm change my own family or do everything in the other family.
I know that part.
She's the oldest of 7. So she was the one, in her mind, if she got married, she would be free from having to take care of kids. Not realizing that she got married, but her husband lived with his mother, his sisters. So she went from
One family, one taking
from
care.
having to take care of her siblings and her stepmother and her father.
Where it's more comfortable.
But she thought it wasn't because she was
Right.
tired of having to take care of her siblings. She thought she was going to get married and be free. Now she's catering and taking care of
A
her
whole new
husband's
family.
So they had her like the cha-cha.
And she grew up in Dominican Republic. So you were able to get married at that young? At 16?
Yeah.
That was in ¿En qué año fue que tú te casaste? What year did you get married?
73.
Yeah, because my mom got married when she was 14 and my dad was 32.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
No.
rocking the cradle.
But her husband was her same age. He's only like 2 years older than you?
Yeah, 2 years more than
2
me,
years
I
older.
think.
That's why he was still at home. He was only 18.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you got pregnant with me? Because that wasn't really around either.
No, actually, well, I've been with her dad since I was 15. I got pregnant when I was 19. Actually, we weren't avoiding kids, so it wasn't like, oops, it was, if it did happen, it happened. I mean, I was scared. I was scared to tell my parents. I was really scared to tell my dad. I remember my dad being very angry, offering me everything because they had sent me to the best schools. They wanted me to go to college and do all this stuff and not get married, not have kids. So my
Not
dad
at a young
offered me
age.
everything, like anything, not, abortion even came out. I was like, hell no, I'm not doing it. So I ended up going to live with my mother-in-law. Oof, we ain't even gonna go into that story, but anyway. Yeah, I ended up having her in Puerto Rico. And then right after I had her, I remember telling her father, I can't do this no more. Like, I can't live here now one more day. So we ended up moving back with my mom. And then her father came to Florida for a boxing match, and I came for the fight. And I remember when the fight was over and it was time to go back, I was like, I'm not going. Like, you go if you want to, I'm not going. And I didn't. I ended up staying in Florida. I never went back.
With no family here at all?
No family in Cape Coral.
Wow.
Nope, just her godmother.
El tío de ella es Macho Camacho, el boxeador. We used to watch your uncle fight all the
Yeah.
time when I was younger, yes. Yes, my mom loves
So then my dad, after I had her and I went home, oh my God, my dad fell in love with her. But he only got to enjoy her for 15 days because he passed when she turned 15 days old.
And my dad snuck me in.
Yeah, I remember my dad being in his deathbed, and his only wish was, and I'm sorry if I start crying, his wish was to see Nakisha. So her dad took this big old trench coat, and I'm like, what are you doing? He says, I'm taking her in. I said, we're not allowed to take her in the hospital. He says, I don't care. So he put her in the trench coat and covered her up and took her, and a couple hours after my dad got to hold her, he passed.
Wow.
Yeah, so he got to hold her.
And he was dark like me too.
Yeah.
So three or 4 weeks, I want to go home and get back.
After 3
Did
weeks,
you?
I want to go home. I said, no, you can go home. That's your home. I don't want to stay.
Yeah.
I want to go back to my house.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
When I go to the site for Mary, when I see my brothers and sisters, I'm still cry. You know, what I do it? And this time, I'm feeling what I do it. On couple's day, because I'm be home, and the next week is married, because my father, her father, is not living or
she wasn't allowed to live with him unless they
No.
got married.
So he go to other city, to the Dominican Republic, Bani, to the south. I'm stay in the house. And the weekend he come, and the Saturday is married.
Wow.
Everything. Her mother.
His mother.
His mother. Everything. Big party. Big Mary. My cousin bring me dress, white dress, everything, flower, everything.
But she didn't plan anything herself.
No.
Everybody
like-
planned everything for her.
It's like an arranged marriage.
I was about
It
to
wasn't
say,
arranged, 'cause they met each other.
but they
and
still didn't have a choice.
So they
in
met
that.
each other, and she told her parents that she was gonna move. And then my grandfather said, "No, you're not moving. You can get So she really tricked them into allowing her to get married, because she said either we get married or I'm just gonna move in with him. And in the 70s, my very Catholic grandparents were like, "Oh hell no, you're not living with nobody unless you get married." So
It's not for the religion. That's for conservadores.
they're very conservative.
That's old guy, old people, you know. That's different than now. It's different.
Yeah.
What about
my
you, Mama
mom,
Bear?
my mom made my mom had to marry her husband, my father, at 14.
Yeah.
Too.
In order to live with him.
Oh yeah.
I think that's crazy. Grandma never told me that her husband was 30 years old and he was 14. Like, we
Back then
that was
conversation
about
was
that.
normal though.
And my grandma's
After you cash out her, you make sure.
Then you might get the whole.
I might get the real story after that. Send her
So-
$20 for every conversation.
Question is how'd you feel?
Yeah, how did you feel?
Well, I was 23 when I found out I was pregnant. I'm pretty scared. I was like really naive at that time. And her dad was like my first love, if you want to say. And then after I had her, he went away for 10 years. So I was by myself, taking care of her. But I love her.
We all gonna cry. We don't got no tissues in this house.
Y'all supposed to have tissues.
No. I guess, so you guys have that in common.
Yeah.
Your
Oh, we
significant
definitely do.
others went to prison. I mean, my mom, her husband was just a douchebag and just left, but on his own. I think that hurts more.
It does when they don't
Because-
have a choice. Well,
Yeah,
they have a choice.
They have a choice
I mean,
and they
yeah.
choose to leave, compared to, and again, I don't know your father and I don't know your father, but they had a choice to not do something wrong. However, being incarcerated is different, because my mom's husband, he chose to leave his family. I see it as different. I don't know.
And then they expect you to be there every weekend to see them, you know, send them money, this and that and the other. And it's like, why? You're the one who chose what you did, you know.
Did you guys take the
That's-
girls to go see their dad?
all the time.
Yeah. For us, the first go around, yeah, it was an every day, every weekend thing. Every weekend. Second go around, it was no longer that. I had to survive. I had to work and I had to raise 2 kids on my own. Now you're gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
It's one weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even uprooted from here and moved to Georgia
Wow.
because he was like, I forget exactly where it was at, but it was like, he was in Florida, but I had family in Georgia. And so it was like only an hour away from where they live. So I moved to that little town with my mom at the time, and her sister uprooted, went up there, and then had to end up moving all the way back here because my mom was on dialysis, and it was just too hard to the small town, you know, and trying to get her back and forth. And it was just not,
It's literally
It's like-
one thing after another.
yeah.
So the question is, did you wait for him to come out? That's my question, not the question.
She's like, I want to know.
I did, and then it got to, he just kind of like was too comfortable with the situation, and he was out on the streets more than he was at home, and got in the car one day, found something in the car that I was just like, oh no, I'm not driving the car with this in my car. Went in, told him I'm done. I packed all of our stuff, found another place, and started moving, and he's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm gone.
Was that after his 10-year bid?
Oh,
Or-
I was married with him for 25, 26 years, and out of that, he was in and out of prison or jail for 14 of that.
Wow.
Do you feel like you regret waiting all that
Oh,
time
yes.
and wasting your 20s
Yes.
and 30s to wait for him and then get hit with the
Yep.
same shit?
Yep.
What would you tell somebody that would be in that same predicament right now? Because there is a lot of single moms that are
Doing the
wanting
same
to
Hold on,
wait.
let me put that my 2 cents in. Maybe don't turn down the dude that's in the school, because all of y'all are sounding, and y'all went for the older guy, and all he was doing was being a rolling stone at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it's the ones that you don't want to talk to, the ones that are really lovable, that actually have a good
They got
home.
flowers, they got
Yeah,
mixtape.
those are the ones we don't wanna deal
They
with.
only like the bad boys.
She said I put. He's talking about He said I put a whole mixtape together.
Look at you personal.
I was
Hit him at home. Hit him at home.
No, it tapped me a little bit because it's like you put all this time and effort, and then because homeboy has the car, he has everything, y'all went that direction, and then look at the end of
The end result.
of the road.
You know what? That's true because my mom's husband, he was a musician, and I think that's one of the things that she liked the most about him, right? The fact that he was a musician and a free spirit. Gilberto. Right?
You know what's crazy? My mom's ex-boyfriend, like not boyfriend,
No,
boyfriend,
never
but she's
my
told me
boyfriend.
stories that she
Never.
liked him. He liked her a lot,
Yeah,
and he was
let's
a
put that.
well-known. He still is a Puerto Rican singer. What's his name? Drop the
I don't
name.
remember.
Yeah, a well-known Spanish salsa singer, or whatever. And she chose my dad. That was a Camacho, a boxer.
But that's not the reason. See, people.
Whatever. No, this is
I'm going
what
to clear
I
it up
heard.
right here
This
on
is
live.
what I
I'm going to
heard.
clear it up.
Yes, clear it
People
up,
are
Mom.
very misconcepted that I got with her father because he was Camacho.
well,
it
not
wasn't
that. I'm just saying you chose
Completely.
a Camacho. That's what I'm saying.
I
The
think.
swag. She chose
Right.
the swag.
I did, and that part. Yeah, it was just something about him. But I have to say this, even though that her dad is where he's at now, I want people to know that he was never bad to us.
Never.
He was bad to himself. So when people ask me, and I have countless people ask me the same question, I always give them the same answer. Why wait? You know, this is not
And
the
let's make
first.
it clear, she has waited
Yeah.
almost 20 years.
This is, I mean, he was my first boyfriend, my first partner, still my only partner. So to me, I don't feel like he was ever bad to me, personally. He was bad to himself.
Yeah.
So I can't abandon him because he was bad to himself. And a lot of people ask, well, why are you waiting? Well, right now, I take care of myself. I don't need a man. To be honest, I don't need a man to come take care of me. I know how to take care of myself. Why would I want to go to the next one to think that they're going to come and live and move in my house and live off of me? Because in reality, men are looking for the same thing females are looking for. They're looking for that same comfortable thing. Well, I'd rather stay with the one that I know. At least I know his habits. At least I know what he brings to the table. And I'm not saying that, when he comes home, everything will be perfect, because I don't know that. But I guess it's a chance I have to take. I hope that I don't sit one day and be like, damn, I just wasted my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and half of my 50s. But I don't know, only time
Well,
will tell.
I also think, so I've been with my husband for 29 years, almost 30 years. And we've actually been together all that time.
Wow.
And I can still say, man, there were times where I felt alone. So it's not about having a body next to you. I think a relationship is more than physical, especially at our
mental.
age, you know? If, as long as there's communication, as long as there's an understanding, shoot, I came to the realization that I literally gave my 20s and what you just said that you wish that you don't, I feel like that now. I feel like I spend my 20s and 30s not by nobody's fault, my own choosing, because I chose to have sex and I chose to have kids at a young age and I chose to stay married with my husband even when at times maybe we should have not been together because we were so young and we made so many mistakes. However, I really, to my core, believe that he is the man that God created for me. With all his flaws, with everything that we've been through, just yesterday, he was getting on my last nerve. Like, literally. And, because he played too much. Y'all Scorpios, y'all play too much. But then y'all don't like when we play back.
Real Scorpios are very different, though. Let me put that
Yeah,
on the record.
I think
Very
so.
It's very
So
different.
he was like, give me a kiss, give me a kiss. I'm like, Mario, like right now. And when I call him by his name, that's when he knows, because I hardly ever call him by his name. And he's like, oh, so you don't love me no more? And I said to him, I said, I don't like you right now. I always love you. But right now, I don't like you. And there were many of those times. So I think when people make comments on somebody else's relationships and situation, or why you wait, or why are you still with this person, da, da, da. There's a reason. And I'm not talking about abusive relationships, obviously. I'm talking about just, you know, regular day in, day out arguments, disagreements, not being on the same page, complete different personalities. My husband and I were like night and day.
I think we are too.
Yeah.
Very different.
We're very
Well,
different.
let me
Very
chime in.
different.
Since your dad was kind of like my dad, in and out of jail and prison, do you feel watching your mom wait?
Would I do the same thing?
Yes, but do you feel that you tend to do that in a relationship as well, where you hold the burden of trying and trying and trying and trying?
Because that's what we're seeing. Yeah.
Because that's what you've seen.
Yes and no.
I think
because-
more of a no for you.
Yeah, it became a no because she's taught me how to be strong and
Yeah.
make my own decisions. Because I was with my son's father since I was 18. And he got 10 in, 5 in, 5 out when I first had Ivan. And the moment, like she said, she missed her family. The moment that I found out I was pregnant, I didn't talk to her for 2 years prior to that. And I remember calling my dad every, 3 days straight, calling him from California. Well, I left. That's how much I didn't want to be around my family. I left across the whole country. And I remember her picking up, and the first time ever hearing her voice in 2 years, she said, "You're going to be just like your father. Your dad just got 15 years in prison. Now that's on you," and hung up on me. That's all I heard. And little did she know, I was calling and telling her that he was going to be a grandfather. And at that moment, I didn't want to be nowhere else but with my family. And I told my son's father that day, and I was like, I'm leaving back to Florida. My family needs me, and if you come, you come. If you don't, you don't. And he didn't want to come at first, and he jumped and came back, and I lived in Orlando. And right after that, probably not even a year later, I found out my son's father was on not only heroin, but Dilaudid and cocaine. Whatever got him high, he did it. And I waited, and I tried with that relationship because of her. Because I was like, my mom has never gave up on my dad. It was kind of like I was going through the same thing. And going through this thing, I was like, it's a disease. People just need love. They need somebody there. But it wasn't. It was the point that he was taking advantage of me. And I remember thinking, like, do I want to be like her? And not in a bad way or a good way. It was a choice. Do I want to be like her? And I remember her looking at me at Pondella, and she said, please don't be like me. Do not stay with this man because you feel like you have a child you need to.
It's also probably because like she said, your father was bad to himself, but not bad to you guys.
Exactly.
So
And he was bad to everybody and bad to me.
Your son's father was not like your father.
No, nothing. And I compared him a lot to my dad Because I was like, oh, he's from this, he does this, he's Spanish, he's very manly. But the whole time, he wasn't my father. He didn't pay the bills. I did. I was on Section 8. He didn't help me. He watched me struggle.
Yeah.
One thing, my dad might have done his shit, but bills were paid. And they did their own thing, and I never saw them argue. They kept that very away from us. That's why I don't speak Spanish. They argued in Spanish. And I learned it little by little when I watched my cousins and stuff in Puerto Rico and talking. I just picked up little things that they would say, being nosy. But at that moment, I chose, no, I will not do the same thing she did. Because one, that man is not my father. And I'm not going to keep waiting, and I was going to wait the 10 years. I was going to wait because I knew he violated, he was going to go back in. He's back in prison again. And God knows how long he's going to be gone for.
My father was not incarcerated, well, he was just not around, but my uncle was incarcerated, and my mom's brother. And from the very first time we went to visit, I knew I could never. I hated the visits, I hated the search. I'm still traumatized by the Ziploc bag with the coins.
Yeah.
I think to us, I'm not sure if you feel like that, but I think looking back, when my kids were younger, back then I didn't think psychologically what I was doing to my
And
kids.
as a culture, we don't think.
We don't think like that at all. And it
Mental
wasn't
health is
until
not a
she
thing.
got older that, and I learned a lot, like when she hit her 30s, that's when I learned from her. Like, you know, I had to go see a therapist. Like back then I didn't know, I thought I was doing good by taking, go see your daddy. But psychologically, when you're taking your little child there and they're getting stripped and take off your shoes, and I think that's why I didn't want to put my grandson through that, and we haven't. We haven't put my grandson.
Well, the first year I did.
Yeah,
because
the first year.
I looked at it again as my mom. My mom's never kept me from my dad. No matter what my dad did, I didn't know until now. Until I was older enough to ask him questions, or I asked her bluntly what the hell has happened. And then my dad plays that devil's advocate. Like, he'll tell you, like, well, you know, we cool, like, I did this and this, we all messed up.
Yeah.
But the whole time it wasn't, you know what you did to all of us. Like, it was, my mom was there.
Yeah.
We drove to Gainesville. We drove to Tallahassee. We were in wherever, Miami, and we 3-4 in the morning
Yeah.
It's
leaving.
expensive.
Sitting in
And
the
yeah, while my
lines,
mom's
yeah.
working a job and we're on Section 8, we're barely making it. And she put her last 50 in gas
Yep.
to make sure we get there, barely having food to come back in. And I remember the one visit that killed me was when he came back to Fort Myers, and we had to watch him through a TV. And I was probably 14, 15. I was in my softball uniform. We left my softball game straight to go see him that night. And I broke down crying, asking him why, like, why again? And she never forced us to go after that. And it was our choice. And in the second bid, she became strong enough and she was like, no, I'm fucking done. Like, I'm tired, boo-boo. It's not all about you anymore.
Exactly.
Stop calling me and complaining about your life in there. You chose that. And that's when I got older and I started seeing what my son's father was doing, and I was done. Like, that reaction that she had 20 years later, I'm like, man, stop calling me, bro. Like, you got another baby mother. I'm taking care of our child. Our child is good. That is my job. And
Imagine having to go through all that for an uncle. And the crazy part is that till this day, I resent him for having to go visit him. And he's not even my father, he's my uncle. And I hold a huge, not grudge, because I don't hold grudges, but I resent him for making my mom go through that.
Yeah.
Because he has kids, and none of his baby mamas ever took their kids. My mom used to pick up his kids
And
take them along with us to go visit him.
See, what made me stop with my son's, like, the last visit I went to was in Miami on his first bid. And I really wanted him to see his dad. I wanted him to have that relationship, regardless if it was through a TV or a glass screen or whatever. And I remember not having it. I was in my studio at the time, before I bought hair artistry. And I had only $20 to my name, but I didn't want people knowing my business or what I was going through. So I drove all the way to Miami. My son was super excited because this was his visit. And I remember driving through Alligator Alley at 9 o'clock at night, and my gas was on E. And I was like, I can make it, but I only have this $20. Like, what I'm either gonna feed him or I'm gonna have to put gas. And my car broke down. And I was on 111 towards Naples almost. I was almost home.
Almost.
And I remember I was too scared to call her because I knew she was gonna snap on me. Like, how dare you go and spend your last to go see this man? And she didn't want me seeing him anymore. And my best friend Berto came and picked me up and towed my car to the gas station and put gas in it. And that was a done deal for me. I was like, I'm done. I work too hard. I'm a single mom. I have done everything I can do. And I'm wasting my last on somebody that wouldn't even give me 50% of his if he
Yeah.
needed it.
Yeah.
So as a mother, what advice can you give to a new mother now?
As a last question.
To a new mother now, I think the best advice I can give her is create your own independency. Don't depend on nobody. Create your foundation so that if one day you have to be alone, you can take care of yourself. Once you have your life established, you can't take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself.
What's
So you gotta
what's your
take care of yourself first.
Basically the same, and like I've always told you and your sister, when you're out there having a job and stuff, and wherever you live at, make sure you can pay your bills, you can pay your rent, your lights, your water, your car. Don't depend on nobody. Because as we all know, that can change just like that. They can walk out of your life just as easy as they walked into it.
Yeah.
And
you
that
need
not
to
only
be able
goes
to-
for
Women, that's
families
Oh, yeah.
like me and her went through. That can go with a family member. For you, and I'm gonna use you as an example, you could be 30 years. And I wish you all the best, obviously, but you just never know.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you want to be dependent because you don't know if one day that man comes in the next day and leaves you hanging. I mean, I'm gonna use, and I don't know if it's okay, but I'm gonna use my sister-in-law as an example. You know, you're with your husband for 28 years. You've never worked. You depended on him. 28 years later, you divorce him. But what do you have? You have nothing because he supported you all your life. So now, at 50, you have to go and find work for the first time in your life. Go and work and figure out how to live your life when you could have done that 20-something years ago.
And
So
not
you-
even that, just even if they, God forbid, they pass
They get sick,
away.
I was just
Even
about to
that.
say
Yeah, they get
Even
sick
that.
and they pass away. You've depended on them for however many years, and then all of a sudden, bam, that income is not there anymore. You got to think about yourself just as much as the whole relationship.
And it's not being selfish. I think a lot of people
No.
mess that up with being selfish or trying to
It's
pickpocket
self-care.
money on the side. Like, oh, if you're working, you're both working, but you have a separate bank account. People might look at that as shady in a relationship, but it's not. You should always have a joint bank account when you're married and a separate bank account for your own self. Because damn sure, I bet you they do. And that goes
Right.
for vice versa, men and
Right.
women. 'Cause
But
there are
very,
some men.
and very prompts to those mothers who overcame that. I mean, I must say those.
So I think it all comes down to balance too, because even though my husband was the main breadwinner till this day, I always worked part-time. I always make sure I had my own money. I always make sure that, because there were things that my husband didn't think my kids should have, and I thought they should have it, so I didn't want to ask him for money for it, so, I will make my own little money and spoil my kids on the side. But that's why I became a nurse at the age of 40. It's not that I had a fear that my husband would leave me, but then again, that can always happen. However, it's because I wanted my own independency. I wanted to make sure that regardless of whatever, I can take care of myself. And it was to prove to myself, I'm with my husband because I want to be with him, not because I need him.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? And I think every woman should have that independency. However, I'm very big on, I don't like when women say, I don't need a man. Because technically nobody needs anybody. We're born alone, we're gonna die alone. But I don't think people should
I don't
get
think
to an
somebody should
older
die
age
alone.
by alone. Exactly.
I don't
I'm
think
sorry,
no-
say that again?
I don't think any person should die alone. I see Michael, and I love Michael like a second dad to me. But I see him, and I feel like he would be 5 times happier if he had somebody. And it wasn't until
I gotta disagree with
See,
y'all's
who's Michael?
quote.
See, Michael's my old guy that works here. He's
Oh, yeah,
my
yes,
educator. He said it for 10, I've known him for 10 years. For sure, 10 years for being an educator. He's always said, F these women, I can't stand them, they're this and that. He was married, but she took him for everything and cheated on him and everything and put him through hell. It
So he's
wasn't
just
until
traumatized.
2 weeks ago that his mom, that he's been taking care of his whole life, has decided to leave back to Boston. And he looked at me and goes, I'm ready to date. I'm tired of being alone. And it was for him for once in his life that he was actually honest with himself. And I think my grandmother's the same way. She's only been with her husband. She's tried it. But nobody should have to come home by themselves every day alone. It's nice to have it. You can do it. We all know we can do it, but who wants to do
One thing
it?
is to be comfortable. A lot of people don't know how to be alone. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know.
If
like
you
my
can't be
husband-
alone, you can't be with nobody else.
Well, that's
That's
true.
the whole
Right.
thing.
You have to be
One thing
comfortable with
is
yourself.
knowing that you can be alone,
Yes.
and that you don't financially need, you don't emotionally need somebody to complete you. But that doesn't mean that you should be alone.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to be alone. And I'm gonna say this because I went to Vegas the weekend before by myself. I went with my cousins, but I spent a lot of alone time, and I enjoyed it. But that's because I've never been by myself. And then I came home and I'm like, now I can appreciate the rest of my family because I did have that alone time and I had something to compare it with. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed my alone time, but I love my family, and so now I know balance. There's gonna be times where I'm gonna wanna take a trip by myself or go to the beach by myself or just put that alone time in there, but I do love being surrounded by my family.
And on
And my
that
husband,
note,
even though he gets on my nerves.
we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
Oh, wait,
Because
so
we
wait,
are out
Mom.
of time.
What advice can you give to a new mom now? Knowing, I think you're the oldest person in the panel. ¿Qué consejo tú le puedes dar a una madre nueva?
Cute. She is. She was a girl.
Believe in God.
Okay, believe in God,
Talk. Communication.
communication. Do you feel like you communicated with your kids when we were growing up?
Not much. I don't got no experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't got no experience. I need to
Our
walk,
parents
walk,
didn't do
walk.
that.
I
Our
need to
parents
walk,
didn't do
walk,
that.
Comprobate anything.
Right.
But communicator. Love. That's the decision. Love is not love. Not love is decision.
It's a decision.
It's a decision to love somebody.
You accept the other people. Enjoy the life.
Enjoy life.
Amen.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to close our, I think we
Autumn.
need to do this more often. This
We
was a
definitely-
good conversation.
This is like good therapy.
And listen, I'm glad, and listen, so I think this is a good starter to a future one because I would like for us to dig
a little
deeper. I know there were some things that I wanted to talk, but since we're just fresh off Mother's Day and we're all happy and in a good mood and all
We're not
that,
gonna
but
down it.
I think it would be beneficial for us, for our audience, for us to dig a little deeper into our childhood because a lot of your mom and I are the same age, so we are like in the same genre, right? And the same, not genre, that's music. See, I always
You
think
can still
music.
say that?
Yeah.
Same genre, same, you know. And my mom, there was that comment that she made that I didn't cook and clean. I don't
Look, that's
agree
still
with
bothering her.
Yeah,
That
that's still
happened
bothering you.
an
Yeah,
hour
let it
ago.
go.
It's still bothering.
Let it go.
She gonna have to bring her sister.
It is
You don't
because
know why?
I've
You
been
don't know
cooking
why?
since I was 9 years
Oh,
old.
mom
know
got
why?
something to say.
Because you never told me what I come here for that.
Okay.
We prepare me.
Okay.
Look
We
at
prepare.
Oh, I like
All
her.
right,
We're gonna
so
put her and
next
grandma
time
together.
we
Oh, we
going to
cannot
be
put her and
spelling
grandma
the
We're
together.
putting her and grandma
We're gonna
together.
be spelling the tea next time.
Yes.
On that
I
note,
do want to say one thing. I do want to tell you guys, so Against the Laws, which is my nonprofit organization, is a mentorship program for teen parents, since I was a teen mom myself. We are having a second annual Women's Empowerment Networking Forum. We're going to have a great celebration. I feel like here in Southwest Florida, we've been through COVID, we went through the hurricane, and we need to celebrate life. So the theme for my event is celebration. I'm going to have singers, violinists, dancers, a DJ, food. There's going to be raffles. I'm going to be selling tickets for a big screen TV. I'm going to be selling tickets
Ooh.
for a generator. And we still need vendors and we need sponsors. So please go to againstallodsinternational.org or you can hit me up on my DM. My personal Gmail is Daddy Estela, or you can go to Against All Odds, INTL, on IG and hit me up. We need vendors, we need sponsors, so please, May 27th at the Collaboratory.
And on top of that, since we're talking about celebration, May 28th
Yes,
is
slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down
Hold
event.
on. We have to make an official announcement.
Yes.
Ooh.
Wait, are you
It is-
surprising us with something else again?
No,
She
you
full
was
of your
already
shit.
here. It's you guys was already here.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay.
okay,
It's something
okay.
we know then.
Yes. Because, listen, she be popping things.
Look, I'm
again.
making shit work.
Look,
I gotta make it
She's
work.
moving and shaking. She's moving and shaking.
So Parlor Talk will be the official social media host
Yes.
Yes.
for Slowdown for May 28th. We will be
Yes.
doing interviews. We're gonna be grabbing people, interacting with them, and then hopefully we're gonna be on the checks and everything for the next one in August.
That's what I'm talking about. If you don't know what the Sold Out event is, it is amazing vibes. It's usually between like 30 and up. It's an all-white party this time. They've never had a dress code before, so dress to impress, or you can wear sneakers and shirts with shorts, and it's a nice white shoes, whatever you
It's
want
an
to do.
outdoor event.
It's an outdoor event, and it is summertime, so keep that in mind. But the drinks are amazing, the food's amazing,
Yes.
the environment and the music.
The music. Did you
Everything.
guys read that DJ Shorty Doo-Up is
Is
going to
doing
be
the
playing
guys?
all
Yes.
the guys
So they
R&B?
switched it up.
They
They
switched it
will
up.
be doing. He'll be doing the females, and then she's gonna be doing the guys. So we get this correct this time around. It's slow down at the Jungle Bird Tiki, because you know
We always gonna say
we always
tiki.
add in a tiki hut and tiki this and something. Gonna get it right. If you don't know the address, it's 1520 Lafayette Street in Cape Coral, May
Last
28th,
time.
2 to 7. We were
Perfect
gonna
time.
be
To
there.
get drunk and still make it home.
Remind people of the mysteries.
And my people of
And,
Water.
oh, the Mr. Well, we can't forget the tatas.
Oh yeah. If you are going to wear a white shirt, ladies, please wear some bralettes or something underneath, because
Listen,
there is
they
gonna
sell
be a
these things,
mist.
they're pasties. You just put them around your nipple.
If
and they're
not,
waterproof.
you know I like titties, so I'm okay with that sometimes. Just be ready to show a nipple or not if the water hits you.
And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share, follow, subscribe. That is the way that you can support us. We are a growing platform for our community, and we need your help to help us grow. My name is Dee Dominguez. Thank you for chiming in.
And this is your girl Enya Phoenix, the rising from the Phoenix.
Hey,
Get
it, girl.
And you already know what it is. It's Shhmoney Curl. Catch me on the 28th, because I'm going to be loud.
Yep, me too.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
I'll be the quiet one in the section.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you coming. Oh, you got a little emotional. You never get emotional.
I know, I never get emotional.
This was good, y'all.
I love her. You need to meet my grandmother.
Yes.
You two in a podcast together. You'll
Oh
take
my God, the grannies.
off. Oh, they'll take off.
The grannies.
Episode, love great grandmothers.
That old people.
She loves old people.
Oh, my grandma's not old at heart. Like,
Like me.
yeah, she's feisty. And it's nothing. When you look at her and she's like this.